Okay, so the ace grading live stream finished not too long ago. What happened? So it's very close to launch. So he says. So far, Randolph has been the only voice coming out of ace grading. He doesn't grade the cards himself, but he has been the lead voice so far. If you do a little bit of digging, you can find out what other names may be linked to ace grading. It's not launched yet. There's no release launch date yet. However, he has said it's very close. But there has been official grading. So there's been 3 cards that have been graded by whatever team that they are using. And he said that it goes through a process of the first person, like the pre-grade as it were, or stage 1 will be the centering. Then the second person will look at something else. Then the third person will look at something else. So on and so forth. And then I think it gets to stage 5, which will be the master grader or whatever it may be, and will then look at everything to verify what the previous 4 people have put. And they've so far graded 3 cards. Those 3 cards being gifted to other people. These are basically promo cards with serial numbers that are just 99999, and that is it. So they don't have their own unique ID number. So those cards were I almost said PSA, an ace graded 6 Shadowless Hitmonchan, which was gifted to KSI. We don't know about the other cards, what sets they're from, but Simon Miniminter got an Arcanine, which did get an 8 grade, and then Josh Zerka got a 9, which was a Slowbro. They're the only officially graded cards. All of the others are just purely promos. They've just basically slapped 10s on there just to show what the card would look like. He has said that the slabs are a similar size in height to PSA cards. However, they are a little bit thicker, and they stack either way. So you can go front to front, it stacks. Back to back, it stacks. Front to back, it stacks. Upside down, left and right, doesn't matter. Everything stacks, which again, I quite like that. What else? So £10 is your standard price per card, which will give you a bog standard label. However, you can change the label, and it doesn't matter what grade it gets. So if you get an ace grade 1, you can still have a color matching label, which the labels are so far one of my favorite things out of this. Admittedly, so far in the whole of my grading career, I've only ever used PSA, and I do like PSA cards, but I like the labels. I very much like the labels, which I know is sad. I like a little bit of cardboard on potentially a very expensive card. So it's £2 extra for a color match label, which basically it will match the colors of within the card itself. So if it's a Charizard, then they'll draw colors from the reds that are in the card. If it's a Blastoise, they'll draw from the blues that are in the card. If you want an ace label, it's £5. However, there's not very many ace labels available at the moment. There's 2 that we know of, which is Celebi from one of the most recent sets, and then the other one was a Moltres as well. The Umbreon was only a prototype. That might not be the final version, but from what he said, all of the ace labels will be available to view on either the website or on Instagram or something like that. However, the color match labels will not, because there's just far too many. But basically, I would imagine they just sort of scan the card and be like, oh, we'll take a bit of that color and a bit of that color. That's your label. So plus £2 for the colour match, plus £5 for the ace label. And as I said, they can go on any grade of card. 1 to 10, it doesn't matter. I quite like that. What else do we have? Relabeling will be available in the future. So if you do send in a card to have its standard label and they release the ace label grade for that particular card, then you can send that in. However, there was no discussion as to pricing for that. The other thing that was missed in the chat was whether they are UV rated slabs, which, to be fair, I don't actually think anyone does UV rated slabs, because I would imagine it's quite expensive to do. For most people, if you do have them on display, you tend to put them in a UV rated case because it is quite expensive. So I wouldn't expect them to be UV rated, but you never know. What else? At the moment, there are no pickup and drop-offs available. We don't even know where the site is, but he said that there will be videos coming in the future, Instagram, Facebook, etc., etc. So, I mean, if it's where Graded Gem were, I would quite happily go and do pickups and drop-offs, because it's only an hour down the road and I trust my driving more than the Royal Mail, so that would be quite nice. There will be no upcharges, which I think I don't think there's going to be any complaints about that, because that's one of the biggest things that's put me off sending my higher end cards to PSA. When I sent my cards out many moons ago, back in 2016, there was no such thing as an upcharge, and now there is. And cards are obviously worth a lot more nowadays. So, for example, the cards that I sent in 2016, if I was to send them now, I would have to fork out thousands of pounds just to get them in my hands. Whereas with ace grading, that will no longer be an option. But then again, I would presume at the moment there's no secondary market, but they have said that upcharges will not be a thing, which is nice. Print errors will not take away from the grade. However, it was not stated whether the printing errors will be in the label or not. So that was glossed over relatively quickly. So that might be, again, to be fair, everything's sort of in its infancy stage. So it could be a change in the future. He said the slabs were actually slightly smaller but thicker. So, I mean, looking at it, it's quite surprising because that label don't half look thick. So I would imagine in any PSA storage containers that we have, it shouldn't really be a problem. It's only going to be the thickness. So you might lose out a couple of cards in a big case. What else? The security label, which is like an octagon shaped QR code. There's a load of dots, basically like a QR code. Those dots can be in millions of combinations, and it's supposed to be very hard to replicate. The color is a hard to replicate color. You basically need a really good printer in order to do so. And that specific code is unique to your card, or unique to that card. So it should be fairly hard to replicate, which again is a nice little security feature. What else? There will be a population report, and it will be a public population report, which is fantastic. It's one of my pet peeves when it comes to video game grading, is there's a lot out there that don't actually have population reports. So it's a bit hard trying to judge like how hard something is to grade, which again is a good thing. What else? There'll be no memberships required. So you basically log in, send it off, that's it, done, and then that's it. As it stands, when the site launches, the only cards that will be available will be TCG cards in English and Japanese. You can do other TCGs in different languages, and you can basically just sort of type it in and it will come up. I do have Topps cards that I would like to send, as well as other Pokemon cards, but that is not TCG. I don't think that's going to be in the near future. I would be surprised if it's, to be fair, I would presume it depends on how much money comes through the gate in the next sort of month or two after launch. Then it might be more worthwhile investing more into this database. But there's still a lot of rumours flying around with PSA and other companies in the UK. From what I've seen thus far, I think Ace Grading is going to be the UK's biggest grading company, but only time will tell whether it's going to stick around or not. But there's a lot of other grading companies that are making their way known in the UK. Obviously, it still means shipping internationally. I think the closest UK competition would be Get Graded. They had a horrific start. I've not sent anything out to them, not yet anyway. I might do in the future. I honestly don't know. But from what I've seen so far, it could just be the hype around it that's got me. Maybe I'm overlooking certain things. If I am, then please do let me know, and I'll be sure to next live stream send him a question. If enough of us do it, hopefully we'll see it. But there, at peak, there was over 1,000 people watching, which for someone who's just launching a grading service, I think that's quite good for 7 o'clock on a Saturday. I don't think that's bad numbers at all. But I think he's got a good team around him. Let's be honest, he's been mates with the Sidemen for years and years. And let's be honest, they're not stupid. They've got their heads on when it comes to business. So I would imagine he's probably drawn advice from absolutely everyone. I mean, they've all got their own little niches. Some of them do better in property. Some of them do better in clothing. But they've got this whole group of young lads who have got their head screwed on. So I would imagine he's got himself surrounded by some good people, and I genuinely do think this is going to be the biggest UK grading company until PSA comes to the UK. Then I think that's going to start getting rid of a lot of the smaller guys, and then I think there's going to be two left, and I think the two that are left standing will be PSA UK and Ace Grading. But that's just my 2 cents. Hopefully it's a nice little rundown as to what happened in Pokerand / Randolph Pokemon's live stream. Rather than watch the whole thing, you can watch this thing, which was only 10 minutes. But that was it for me. I'm going to a car boot in the morning. For those of you who are new to the channel and just here for this, I don't know, Pokemon content, I go to car boots and places. Basically, I buy low, sell high to fund my collecting of nerdy stuff, including... We've got some Pokemon stuff there. We've got some Game Boys. We've got some Marvel. We've got some Lego. We've got some Funko Pops. We've got some everything. So if you are new, stick around. You might enjoy yourself. Until then, I'll see you later. Au revoir.